When parents first come to me with their child with autism, I am very excited to start on their journey with them with diet, because diet is so important in these kiddos, and typically they're very selective. And so typically we start out with food selectivity and help correcting that so that we can get the proper nutrition in these kids so that they can be the most successful and make sure that their little bodies are working the way that they should. So we start with increasing the amount of foods that they can accept in their diet and work on getting nutritious foods so that they can get the nutrients that they need. Many kids with autism will consume what are called blonde foods, and those foods are typically blonde in color. They can be like chicken nuggets and French fries and chips, applesauce. There can be a wide variety of foods that they accept, and they're typically all of that same color. And the issue with that is they're typically very void in many nutrients. So they're very void in fiber, void in other nutrients and vitamins and minerals, and very processed. And so there's typically a high amount of refined carbohydrates, which can cause a blood sugar spike and cause some behavioral issues as well. And so whenever kids are only eating blonde foods, they're having a diet that is very, very poor in nutrients, and they're not able to work at their highest level if they're only consuming a diet that has virtually no nutrients. It can be really overwhelming for parents when they first start with nutrition therapy, because they're already doing many other therapies like occupational therapy and speech therapy and behavioral therapy, and it feels like it's just one other therapy that they're having to add to the list. But what I like to say to parents is that we're working on the foundation. We want to work with these roots so that we can make sure everything else that comes of that is flourishing. So whenever we set the roots and the foundation to be healthy and for their children to work in their best space, that way they can work better with OT. They can be more successful with speech. They can work better in their other therapies because we set this strong foundation for them. Many parents, when getting started, can be very overwhelmed and not be sure exactly where to start. And so whenever we start with nutrition therapy, we're assessing the child's diet to see how healthful is their diet. What are they eating on a typical basis? Are they only eating blonde foods? Are they actually getting nutrients from their diet? And so I will review all of their diet. We typically do a 24-hour food journal so that we can see what children are eating during that time, so that they can have a professional's eyes looking at all of the nutrients. From there, if they are being very selective in their diet, and if that is an issue for them and they're very selective eaters, we can work on feeding therapy and increase the amount of foods that they will eat that are nutritious. We can also use nutrition supplements, and I'll work with my parents to develop a good supplement regimen. So if they're missing out on any key nutrients in their child's diet, we can supplement those back in there, because feeding therapy can be more of a long-term approach. By using nutrition supplements, it can be more of a short-term approach, and we can make the diet a little more healthful by using those in the short term.